So, ma'am, my first question is like, what inspired you to become a filmmaker? If you can tell your whole journey, how it started.
Whole journey. Uh, actually, I've had a very strange up and down path because, as you're from India. If you're a good student, then you have to do science, and I mean, I started as well from there. To be totally honest, so already for me to break away from that and move to my genuine passion, which was the arts, was a little bit of a journey. But I graduated in literature, so I felt okay that I'm really coming close to that. But I was a lot into theater and a lot of literature during my early years. But somehow, that science thing comes up. So so then I studied literature, and then I knew that I wanted to do something in which I can use all these different interests that I have. And also, as a person, I like to explore like a lot of different things. So I said, what can allow me to keep learning, keep growing, keep exploring, like different ideas, different worlds. And I said, chalo, maybe it is cinema. So it was literally like this. And I grew up watching a lot of films, and also a lot of commercial films. And then after that, after high school, I had a phase where I was just into world cinema, and I just started appreciating, respecting, loving. And we also had that during our literature years, one paper was cinema and literature. So, not only studying adaptation, but also studying really the art of cinema on its own. So I would say that I was really enamored by that. And then I said, let me study filmmaking because I'm very, nervous as a person, like to start anything. So I said, let me study before I can, hold a camera and tell myself I'll make a film. So that was my journey to go to film school. But after that, I've done many other things as well. But yeah, I still do many other things because we also need to survive. But yeah, I'm somehow a filmmaker as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. And ma'am, what was the parents' reaction? Like, they have supported you to become a
Um,
filmmaker?
Yes, I don't think I have not been supported. I'm grateful that I have been supported, but as you might know, the mentalities in India are a little hard to sort of break through in the early phase of your life. But I mean, I have had the little rebellious streak in me from the beginning, so I think my mother always knew that, so she welcomed it finally because she herself also had graduated in the arts. And so she said, of course, if that's what you really want to do, do it. And eventually my father did come around as well, talking about the early years. Now it's absolutely fine. I mean, I'm a woman in my 30s now, so it's okay. I can do whatever I want. Yeah.
Which film school you studied?
I managed to go to London, so yeah, so London Film School. Yeah.
And how long was the course and what was the experience?
The course was, if I remember correctly, 2.5 years. One term was specifically for your graduation film. So, I mean, this was like, I'm talking more than a decade ago, but then you go to your own countries or wherever you decide to make your film, then you make it there. So, yeah, that was.
Ma'am, let's just say someone wants to become a filmmaker and they come to you for advice like, should we go to a film school or should we not go to a film school? So, what's your opinion?
Mm, Honestly, I would say that everyone is different. Okay, I cannot tell you that you must do something because all our personalities are also quite different. However, I don't think film school as such is necessary for everyone, but I can tell you that it was necessary for me because I thought I was starting at a point where I had watched a lot, but I had not really handled a camera. And more than that, I think it's also the idea that I could meet a lot of different people who have different ideas. And not just at film school. After that, I did many workshops, especially what is very special to me was the Asian Film Academy workshop that I did in Korea. And yeah, and I mean, for me, those ones have been the most special ones. So film school is fine, but I really love meeting filmmakers from all over. I think, we bond, we connect with our references, and I think that's really a way that we all exchange and grow. So if you can't do film school, you can do these workshops, but definitely I think some kind of education in the arts can be very helpful, if you want to be an artist, I think.
And ma'am, if someone say let's just make a film, what will be your opinion on that?
Make the film. I'll be honest with you that everyone is, again, as I was saying, everyone is very different, but um I am very, I have a lot of doubts as a person. Like, I think 10,000 times before pointing the camera anywhere, because that's a bit of my personality. But there are some people who just like to go with it, and I respect that also. But you have to know yourself. If you feel you're ready, why not?
Ma'am, you have made a film, Vaiguren, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
It's a documentary, ma'am, and you are a
Yes.
co-director. So, how the idea came, and what was the experience while making?
See, I'll be totally frank with you. There was no planning in place. It's one of those films that I feel, I wouldn't say I regret, but I would say it's one of those films where I feel I didn't think. And it was, I would call that like a little therapy, self therapy, if I could call that film, because it was that phase in my life where I moved to Singapore and I was doing a job. And I felt that I'm not very much that 9 to 5 type of job person. So I felt very creatively stifled. So I wanted to do something. So that was an example of me taking the camera and pointing it at different people. And I don't dislike the film, if I'm being totally honest, but I didn't think it through in terms of the quality of shooting. Or it was literally me responding to all these different people, trying to meet everyone there who also felt like an outsider. That's why Waiko ran like the alien, the idea that everybody is an outsider. So I was trying to find that in everyone, and somehow we got an interesting selection of people. And through my personal stories, through people I met, friends of friends, etc., etc., I managed to get a decent group of people. But it's one of those films that I wish I could make again, but I think I grew in the process, so I guess it's okay.
What has been your ma'am learning experience while making Vaiguren, which you still use in your films?
My experience has been, see, I was a definite planner even before that, but in that phase, I just needed to just do, without thinking. So that was a time when I was just doing without thinking. But absolutely, after that, I got back to who I really was and I really am, which is, sit down, think, plan, figure out every shot. Um, and yeah, I mean, I feel you learn through every experience, but through that experience, I would say one other thing I learned is that even documentaries have their own study. Documentaries need their own process, and coming from fiction primarily, documentaries take a little longer to adapt to. So I would definitely say, like, now I'm producing a feature documentary of another friend, and I'm again learning in the process, because you constantly realize that, oh, this is different. Like when you're shooting in a new country, you realize the the idea is different, the people are different, the mentality and even how you execute should be different. So in that sense, I think sometimes you just need to make some films, I feel, to learn from them and to learn more about yourself as well.
And ma'am, let's talk about Unveiling Selma.
Yeah.
So, how the idea came, ma'am, for the writing process, and because it's a new country.
Right, right, right. Regarding Unveiling Selma, I will be frank with you. It was an idea that I have had for a very long time, because I had actually written a whole script of Unveiling Selma like about 5 6 years before this fund had opened up. And I wanted to make something, because when you move, like especially when you move to a Western country, I've been sort of between India and even the West, UK first, then of course I moved to Singapore, but I was also, I mean, I've been living in Italy as well. And you realize that the associations, strangely, that the Western Europeans or Americans have are very, very defined. Like, what does it mean to be a Muslim? Or what does it mean to be from the global south? Or what does it mean to be an Indian? Similarly, what does it mean to be a woman from one of these countries? What does it mean to be a woman who's brown? What does it mean to be a woman who's wearing a veil? So even that idea is something that I wanted to just question at its core. So, Akash, right? So, one of the reasons I think I'm here and I dare to call myself a filmmaker is because I have to try to question what exists. If I don't do that and I just try to feed the same status quo, I won't respect myself. So I try to do whatever I can to respect myself at the end of the day. And this was just that attempt to get us to question that, the veil can mean a lot of different things. And in this idea, then I contacted my friend, I mean, another friend of mine who I've been in touch with for very long, and she also wanted to make a film. And we spoke about it. I discussed the idea with her. She said, "Ah, okay." Then we discussed, a bit more of the very local culture. So then she said, "Okay, maybe in this culture, this could be more relevant." So I said, "Okay, fine. Wait a minute." So we were just chatting a lot about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a woman with a veil. How does a woman who wears the veil, because she wears the veil, but she has had her own, ideas about it, which are personal. So we discussed everything about the veil. I discussed a lot of different ideas as well. And I mean, I can talk about this endlessly because it's a very, very genuine feeling for me. Also, because in Muslims also there are so many different ideas. Like if you're Sufi, you have a different idea of what a veil is. So I came from all of that, and I said, let me try to tell a very simple story because we obviously wanted a very, very limited budget. So then we said, okay. But then I spoke to her, and she said, Mariam said as well, let us move away from the city. And I said, let's go very rural. So we tried to find something rural, something more authentic, and something that is less explored again, that is less associated to UAE. And I think we tried. I hope you enjoyed the film. Very simple film.
Ma'am, it's a beautiful film, first of all.
Oh, thank you. You have to say that. No, I mean it's all right. I'm not so proud of it, but I feel that it accomplished what we set out to do. Let me just put
Uh,
it that way.
as per the like short film,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because you have a limit time to tell a story also.
yeah, yeah,
I understand.
yeah.
So, ma'am, while shooting the film, what was the experience and any difficulties you faced?
Lot of difficulties. So a lot of difficulties. Just to name a few. We were shooting, I mean, in UAE. Not to speak bad about any place, as I said, I also need to adapt and learn constantly. But that's why we had a crew from there, but they work primarily on TV. So while they have references, they have knowledge, but the discipline of cinema, as you know, is so different. So that was very challenging, getting down the budget. I mean, reducing our days of shoot, telling people that the shot has to hold for this much time. So it was challenging to get the pace right. Then I flew in a DP who is a foreigner, so obviously for him I realized that even the perspective, he did a good job, great job, but the ideas at the beginning about color, about the color palette, naturally, they were also different. So, I mean, not to say good or bad, but the idea is that we all come from very different cultures. So we have to allow each other to give time to get to know each other, get to know each other's cultures, each other's references. And when we have a very limited time, it can be hard. Unfortunately, in the case of this film, the time was limited, but I think we somehow put it together and we managed. So hopefully, it transpires, but we all learned through the process, I think. And we're happy so far that it's been screening, so we feel decently content, I think.
Ma'am, how big was the crew and like how many days of shoot will be?
The crew was probably about 15 to 18 people, because quite a few came from the side of equipment. Then we had a kid, so with a kid, you had the mother, you had someone else, so it was um, then in terms of the other people, so we were shooting in a very remote place, so even some of the neighbors got involved. So people are curious, so of course you need to know that, I mean, in our countries, as you know, if you have a crew of five, maybe at lunchtime a few extra just come along. So you have to just make preparations that add a few others. Like this cannot exist somewhere else, but in our countries it's how it works. So yeah, I mean, probably crew cast would be probably 15 to 20. Yeah.
And ma'am, how hard it is to get a grant for a short film?
It is very hard. It is very hard. I can tell you that for sure. And in that sense, I'll go back to your idea before where you said, you have a camera, shoot. So, but of course, when you want to make a film properly, it's not very easy. You need some support, you need finances. Let's not joke around. And it's difficult also because everybody wants to be paid. And I, for example, Akash, make sure that everybody on my set is paid. Okay. When I say that, I mean, I don't have the money. So very often what I do is I do another job. And you have to be crazy, you have to be passionate. So sometimes what I do is through that other job I pay people, even if it's in installments, because I feel that everybody's there, everyone's there to work. So this is what I try, at least from my side. I do my level best. But yeah, the more the money, the more the grants, the better it is. And you need to make sure you have a really good person who manages the money, who's very honest and who's very sincere. So that's also not easy. That's also equally hard, I think.
And ma'am, is it hard to work with a child actor, or is it easy for you?
Again, I think it can be easy and it can be hard. I will not necessarily say that it's always difficult, but I feel you have to find your own way. So you have to get to know the child. You have to understand how the child works, how the child thinks, how the child feels. So I have tried, at least, that I spent time with a child before. So you make the child feel comfortable, because I mean, first thing you need to think about is that the little one is seeing 15 people stare at her or him, when you're standing on set, and it's really odd. I mean, I know even as an adult, sometimes I feel like that. If I'm standing somewhere and I have to say action and cut, I don't even like to scream action and cut. I just, hit someone next to me and I say, you say now action, you say cut. So sometimes I even feel that way. And sometimes I scream. I mean, what I'm saying is we go through our own ups and downs. So children obviously go through that. Sometimes, I think you need to figure out, are they comfortable having their parents around? Are they not? These are also little things that you need to work out. And I think all the way from 6 7 all the way to probably 15 16, you have to have genuine, honest, open conversations with them to know what kind of people they are. uh, I have not worked with anybody under 7, so I can't say, yeah, about that age group at all.
And ma'am, how much time it took to like complete the whole film, if you can say, writing, shooting, and post production?
This, as I told you, was a relatively quick shoot, because we didn't have the money, so we could not film for more than 2.5 days tops. So it was very little. And also the first day, the people came late, so we started a bit later. So that's where the I mean, I'm not saying people weren't good, they were good, but everyone has a different concept of time across cultures. So 2.5 days was all we could afford. The pre-production was again complicated because finding actors there, it's not easy. So I was not there for the on-ground pre-production. I was coordinating with my co-director, who stays there. So she was casting, she was sending me the reels of all these women and the photographs, and we were like always talking. We don't like her. Why is she overacting? And then she said, oh no, no, she's from TV, that's why she's overacting. So then we said, okay, can we get non-actors? But non-actors said, oh my gosh, I'm not doing all this. My father will not allow me. My brother will not allow me. I said, gosh, can we find a woman who is, available but is not very loud? Apparently, it was hard. And they're beautiful women. They're talented, but it's these extremes that were part of the reality of our casting process. And somehow we managed. But yeah, the casting was very, very hard. Regarding the location, there was a lot of search going on as well. Again, photographs, videos, and then we got a bit lucky with someone who said, yeah, okay, fine, you can use my house. And then he woke up later and then he said, okay, no, I want some money as well. So we said, what kind of money? So I mean, as I said, we were like constantly, okay, how do we do this? We have this budget, and then suddenly, people say, okay, I want money or I don't want money. Not I don't want, everyone wants money, sorry. So I said, how do you manage? So we okay, should we take out something from this budget? Should we reduce from there? So that's why I said the money management is also important. And of course keep security cash as well on the side, assuming that something happens, somebody goes overtime, or these kind of things. So the writing of the script was something that I did over, I would say, a couple of a week or 10 days maybe, because we were also chatting a lot before. The concept, the script was written years earlier, but I had to rework on it to make it fit the bill. So that was about week 10 days, and then we forgot about it. Then we won the grant, like after many months. Then we said, oh, okay, great, we've got money, okay, we can make the film. And then in the pre-production we realized how the money was little. Then we spoke about how to make it happen, casting, locations, etc., etc., production design. So we started with the production designer and a budget, and then it's going in all the other departments. So we had no money to do production design. So I think I went down there, and then I went with my friend, and we said, okay, let's go to a shop, let's figure this out, let's take some photographs, let's see if we can do it ourselves. So we have gone through these processes. I'm sorry if I sound very negative. I'm not, but it's just that I'm telling you very honestly, this is the process. I mean, what to do. Yeah, you have to be crazy to be a filmmaker, I think. Yeah.
And ma'am, are you currently doing any other projects right now? Any films?
Right now, I have taken a little bit of a break because one of my shorts is screening, and I'm working on reworking on the development of my feature. So it started going out at markets last year and the year before that, but now I think I need some time off just to work in solitude and figure out what to do from this point. So right now, officially, I would say I'm not actively, shooting or anything. No, and I'm very happy, so I can breathe. Yeah.
And ma'am, you have also written a book from cautious to popular.
Yes.
So
Yes.
my first question is
You've
like,
done your
ma'am,
research.
I've done my
You
research.
have to read the book. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. So
Yeah.
ma'am, my first question is, as a filmmaker, like, why a book? Why not a film?
Why a book? Why not a film? Um, Again, if I'm being totally honest, when I was writing the book, like way back, okay, many years ago, I didn't know that I'd write the book. Or was I really writing what will become a book? I was just writing what I would say were free flowing thoughts initially, and then gradually, as I started writing, I said, "Oh, there's more, there's more, there's more." Then I said, "Okay, let me structure this out," and then I realized, okay, there's a novel in there. So the idea was that I abandoned it, okay, for many many years for a personal reason, and then I said, how about making it directly, a novel. I mean, a film. Sorry, not a novel. Why not make it a film directly? Then I met Gulzar Saab, who'd written the forward for me in 2018, actually. So when I met him in 2022, and I felt very embarrassed because he asked me, he said, "Kya ho raha hai aapke book ka? What's happening?" And I said, "Sir, I have gone through something, and plus I was asking myself, are there people who read books, and why? Who's going to read my book? Maybe people just want visuals, they want films, they want series." So he said, "वो सब तो ठीक है, that all that's okay, but if you've written it as a book, let it exist as a book. Other things can happen after that." I mean, it does work as a novel by itself. So that actually pushed me to say, he is someone I mean, we all have crazy respect for. He's one of the stalwarts of cinema and writing. And obviously, he knows way more than I can ever imagine knowing at my age. So let me just like keep quiet and go with his advice. So that was my idea. And I said, let me do this. And that's how I convinced myself that, look, maybe there is something there and I should just have it out as a novel. Now that I think about it, I feel it could be probably adapted at a later stage. But there is a lot in the novel which the girl, as she's growing up, Aisha, she absorbs, she listens to. So it's a lot of an internal journey. So because it is also so internal, I think it could be nice for people to simply read, to understand those layers, and then appreciate that by itself, and then see. Let's see what can happen. Yeah,
Okay, can you recommend your favorite films and filmmakers? It's a list. It's a list.
it's going to be a crazy list. I can't. Oh, we need half a day because I have very wide taste. Um, I can wow. I can tell you that I started off loving a lot of Iranian stalwarts. I mean, Iranian filmmakers. That's how I started my journey into world cinema. um, then at film school and much sorry not film school, during my lit years I was a lot into Kurosawa, Tarkovsky, the classics, you see Satyajit Ray. Then I would say I saw a lot of Iranian filmmakers, and I started feeling, oh, okay, that's something closer to what I understand, really, not just admire, but I also understand. Then, of course, I went through my phases again where I got really into, and I still am, I always will be, I think, into your Wong Kar Wai and, these sort of films which are so, I mean, if I am allowed to use the word, just so sexy, They're just so, they get you like by your gut and your throat and your heart all at once. So and that's when I said, "Oh my God, this is like it's beautiful to be able to do whatever you want on screen." Then, of course, talking about Chunking Express and The Mood for Love, these were one of those like life-changing moments for me, along with The Dreamers by Bertolucci. When you watch these kind of films, you start feeling wow. Then, of course. I can tell you phases. There was also, I had a phase where I liked Inaritu because it spoke to, especially his earlier films. To be honest, I'm not so crazy about his films that have made him very big now, but I like his very early works a lot. Like playing with.
You too, Mama Tambi.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That one is different for different reasons, but I'm talking about like 21 grams and those kind of films. But then I would say now, as an adult, I have also grown to love Chang Dong Lee, Bon Joon Ho, and Koreda. I mean, I have a friend of mine from Philippines. He jokes and he's like, every time he sees an article of Koreda, he just sends it to me, and he's like, okay, the next Koreda. I'm like, no way, no one can be Koreda. But I have those moments when that kind of cinema, where you just feel so many things just by seeing the image, which is very subtle. That works. Bon Joon, who is not subtle, but I love it as well. So I mean, what I mean is I can appreciate a lot of different things in that sense. Then, if I have to think about others, I'd say there's literally a very long list. Xavier Dolan, I used to like his initial work a lot. Similarly, Mia Hansen Love, for the similar reasons that I like Kureda. So I think variety, but depends a bit also on the mood, I think, and the phase that I'm going through in my life. But yeah, cinema is great.
So, my last question is: if somebody wants to become a filmmaker, like what advice would you give to them?
See, I'll be very honest with you. We're all strugglers. So giving advice to someone else is very difficult. The only thing I'll say is, watch a lot of films, but don't get so inspired by, try not to get so inspired by a certain film that you don't develop your own style. So I think that separation between somebody else's art and your own life should be there, so that when you are making something, it's coming from you, and it's not just cut, copy, paste. Because I that is what annoys me, if I may say, as if I see somebody's work, or and if I feel that where is that person, I want to find that person. So yeah, apart from that, no advice, because I'm still learning and I'm still struggling.